Turn your volume down. See if that helps. Mm-hmm. I have lost one of my cleanings. I cannot find it. I hate that. I've looked in all the boxes already. My shades and meaning lesson that I want to do, I didn't do it today because I couldn't find it.
Okay, I'm going to start again because I think perhaps we had some audio trouble on our end. So before I talk too much further, would y'all let me know if you can hear me by simply typing in the text box, just yes or yes I can hear you or whatever you'd like to say, and then click send. Okay, good. So it sounds like that that y'all can hear me, or a number of you can, and I think that's just what we need to get started. So let me start again. My name is Barbara Bishop, and I'm here at West Georgia RESA. We have our small but excited West Georgia RESA Summer Academies ELA team, and it consists of me, Barbara Bishop, and Amory Johnson, who's online with us, and Dawn Bennett, who's also online with us. And so the three of us are like y'all in the sense that we are going to get to go to these summer academies, and Dawn and I are presenting at some of them. And so we'll be excited to see you in person at the academies that you present at and go to. The purpose of our short webinar here is to give y'all logistical details about the process of starting from this moment where you are considering the finalizations of your presentation all the way up until when it is when we are finished in the summer. And I want to congratulate y'all for sending in such great proposals and for making it to the point where you will indeed be able to present. I'm going to turn it over to Amory for just 1 second to let her just say hello, and then also to Dawn if she's available.
Hello, everybody. Glad to be on the GoToMeeting with you today and look forward to working with you.
And Dawn, are you there?
Hello, everybody. This is Dawn Bennett. Yes, I am. I'm very excited to have reviewed all of your proposals. You all have a lot of information to share, and I can't wait to see all of your presentations.
Okay, terrific. Thank y'all. Even though I am recording this, this is a really casual just discussion between all of us. So feel free to stop anytime you think of a question. And since I have the default to mute, if you want to say something, then just type I have something to say, or hey Barbara, or whatever in the box, and then that will let me unmute you. I keep it on mute though so that we can all hear much more clearly along the way. So I'm just going to go through some points that the Department of Education wanted us to make sure that we had conveyed to you, and then we want to talk about some special things that relate just to the West Georgia RESA area ELA presenters and not to all the other ELA presenters in the state. So as you know, they have added a new site, or as you might know, there were additionally 5 sites for summer academies. They've added a 6th one now at the Clarence Brown Conference Center in Cartersville, Georgia. So if, after reflection, you think that you would like to add that site as a place where you are willing to present, then you can just let me know via email. We're going to be finding out these details about who is presenting where and when around May 1st, and that's important. So here are the dates again. I have a flyer that they have updated, which you've seen before, and I also have an additional flyer that I'm going to email to y'all in just a little bit after this presentation. So you will have anything that you see here, you'll have it electronic in just a few minutes when we're finished. So there's just a visual of, if you're like me and you're not from Georgia, you're not really sure what it means to have those 5 or 6 places represented, but now I can totally see where we all are across the state, and it looks like they've got it pretty covered. So as you know, you began a vetting selection process. You were terrific with your proposals. I appreciate and applaud you for your initiative. And then we went through the process as a RESA to select and to share back with the DOE whom we had selected, and that is where we come right now to this last bullet point, that we have communicated with presenters and we have invited you to this webinar. So here's just a reminder of some of what the DOE has shared with us about the obligations. For your work as an ELA presenter in the Summer Academy, you're going to receive a Department of Education contract, and the contract is going to include your agreement to the following: that any of the materials that you use in your session, the PowerPoints, the handouts, even the audio of you speaking your presentation, can become the property of the Department of Education, and that they will use that property by simply housing it on a wiki. That's the plan, so that they can tell everyone, you know, if you went to the one in Athens but you didn't get to go to the one in Cartersville, then, you know, have a look at the wiki for the Cartersville one and download some of those presentations. So what, you know, in terms of copyright and intellectual property and all that, all this really means is that you would not be free, if you accept this contract, to use these specific materials for you to make money in the future. Now, if you want to keep them for your, you know, to redeliver at your school or to have in your classroom, and all of that is just perfectly fine. But if you do anything with these materials wherein you're making money with those materials, then that would be a problem, because at that point it is the intellectual property for that material would be the Department of Education. And again, that's just if you agree to go through with this. So you'll get a written contract. It'll be very simple. Before that written contract can be presented to you, we will need your email and phone number, your Social Security number, and a photo of your driver's license. So after this meeting, and when I'm sending a little follow-up and the electronic materials that I referenced, I'll also give you directions for how to get that info safely to us. And I think the best method would be to just simply put it in the U.S. mail and let it just come by way of form. So we'll take care of that. We already said that the materials will be posted. Here's budget reality that the Department of Education has asked for us to share. The amount of money that they have as of now for a presenter is $1,200. $1,000 of it is considered the amount that the DOE is paying you for your intellectual property and the prep time. And then there's also another $200 to cover your travel expenses, and that's an estimate. Many of you will logistically spend much less than $200 getting there, and some of you might spend more. But in order for the Department of Education to not have to go through the lengthy administrative process of double-checking and caring about expenses with travel, they just made a blanket decision that everybody's going to get $200. At this point, if you're presenting one time, you get $1,200, and if you're presenting multiple times at this point, you get $1,200. And there will be a point, though, once in around May 1st, they've said, once they have these details ironed out, where they will then know exactly how many presenters have accepted the contract, and then they'll know exactly how much money is left over, and that at that point they're going to make some adjustments to that. And that's what they're saying here in this fourth budget, that if the budget allows, they're going to possibly increase the honorarium. You can expect that it'll take about 30 days after the Summer Academy for you to get your check. So the next step is, I know that we're all very busy. Some of you are like just right in the midst of testing, if not just the tail end of it. When you have a chance, whether that's 2 weeks from now or 3 weeks from now, just at some point when school is wrapping up, we will need to see your PowerPoint, or if you're not using PowerPoint, you're using video, then we'll just have to see the video. We are required by our grant to provide you with constructive feedback. And so we would just ask that at some point you send us the materials prior to your presentation, and I'll remain in email contact with all of y'all about this and make reminders as necessary. But that will just give us a chance to see it first and to say, oh my gosh, that was terrific. You know, I know a website that would help with that or whatever. So, so be thinking about how to accomplish that for us when you are ready. If you think of additional questions along the way, the three of us, Anne-Marie, Dawn, and I, we are the three folks at the West Georgia RESA who are going to be a part of the Summer Academy's ELA. And so if you have any questions about the logistics of you getting there or presenting or what your school's supposed to be doing or whatever, feel free to contact any of the three of us, and we can help answer your question. If you ask a question we don't know the answer to, then we might have to defer to the DOE, but that's what we're here for, and we don't mind doing that. So I'm going to send you this PowerPoint here in a little bit, and then you'll have access again to our emails and to our phone number. And also on this next slide, the DOE has shared their ELA contact emails and phone numbers, so those individuals are also able to help. All right, I'm going to move out of this for a moment, out of the PowerPoint, and show you two more documents, okay? This one is the Department of Education's updated summer flyer for English Language Arts Summer Academies, and it just simply is an electronic version of some things you already know about the locations and some of the purpose or whatever. This is provided to you electronically, or will be here in a little bit, so that you can help make sure, as a presenter, you are in a great position to make sure that your school systems team of folks who are going have all the details that they need. We received from the Department of Education a little spreadsheet that had a list of all the systems, and then had the name of the person at the system level who was serving as the official ELA Summer Academy's contact. And in some school systems, the Department of Education did not yet have a name for that. So as we move a little bit closer to the end of the school year, if we're having a problem finding out the details about how your particular school system is implementing this money and attending these conferences, then we might email you and ask you to help us, like, get in touch with someone. But that might not happen either. I'm just letting you know. Okay, here's the big news, though, and it's something we're really excited about. I hope y'all are excited as well. We at West Georgia RESA, just like school systems, we got a grant also, and so we had this pot of money to that we could use to help further the mission of the ELA Summer Academies. And so we put our heads together and came up with an idea. And our idea is that we are going to host, let me make this smaller, we're going to host a redelivered version, a one-day redelivered version of the best of the ELA Math and Fall Mini Academies. And we're going to use our RESA money to pay this, the registration fee and the substitute cost of any of the teachers in our area schools who get permission on September 23rd to attend this one day at RESA. We would like for y'all to consider yourself a West Georgia RESA ELA Fall Mini Academy presenter. We would like for you to consider having the September 23rd date as a date that you reserve in your calendar. You'd perhaps miss a day of school, of course, but your substitute fee would be covered, and you would also receive a stipend. Just as the DOE has money for your presentation, we also would provide money for your presentation and for the intellectual property. In order to be able to post it, it will not be $1,200, but we're working out the details of what we are able to offer by way of stipend. This is not mandatory, but we sure hope that you will do it if you can. One thing that Anne-Marie, Dawn, and I are going to do, well, Dawn and I are presenting, and so we'll also redeliver what we're presenting on the 23rd of September. But Anne-Marie and Dawn and I are going to be scouring the academies that we attend, looking for the best of the best. And so at that point, we may take ideas and redeliver back on the 23rd, or we might even contact someone that we meet and see at a summer academy and get them to, invite them to come be a part of this as well. So this is our way of taking our money and putting it to what we think is good use. We know that the DOE was generous to get a handful of folks from each school system to be able to go, but we thought, wouldn't it be better if, if this information could be spread even farther? And so in order to accomplish that, we are asking that you consider doing it one more time, and then we'll have some teachers from your schools and systems participate in that. So I'm going to go back now to my little menu here so that I can see if y'all have any questions, and I'm going to be ready to unmute anybody who would like to speak. So let me go ahead and do that, and you guys let me know what questions you have. So y'all are live now. Does anybody have a question? If you don't have a question, can you type your name and say no questions, so I'll know that you have heard all this and that you realize that you can ask questions later as they come up? How do we know which academies we signed up for, and can we add some? That's a great question. I asked that of the DOE, and their response back to me was their goal is by May 1st to have taken all the little bits of info that they know about presenters and titles and locations and turn it into a solid, confirmed schedule. So around May 1st, they will come back to us with, here's the list of the folks whom we think are going to the Cartersville and the ones we think are going to Athens, and here's the times when we have them presenting. And there will be a time after that point, a little window, for us to contact them again and say, well, there's a mistake. Ms. Johnson is listed as a Cartersville presenter, but she wasn't going to go to the Cartersville one. Or there will be a time for us at that point to say, Mrs. Johnson has said that she's available to go to the Athens one now. So they're going to try to put all the pieces together to come up with a schedule, which they have asked for us to sort of expect around May 1st. And then there will be a window of time for us to double check it. Does that answer that question? how many times do you present over the 2 days? I think it said twice, but I also think that one of the PowerPoint slides that I have from the DOE might say that. So when I send y'all the electronic materials, I'll make sure that slide is in there. It says how many times they expect over the 2 days. Now, in terms of the West Georgia RESA Fall Mini Academy, that's just a one-day thing, and it's here, but you may present multiple times. You know, we're going to try to have multiple strands for folks to choose from, and this particular day on the 23rd, we'll also have folks from the math side of the house here. So, you know, be the same purpose and mission and process, but down the hall we'll have math stuff going on at the same time. Okay, yay! I'm glad that we might have answered all your questions, and yes, feel free to email us if you think of new ones. And okay, so it looks like y'all, some of you are ready to log off if you have all the info you need, and if you know that, or if you are okay with getting this material electronically here in a little while and asking questions as they come up, then feel free to log off. But I'm happy to stay, and Anne-Marie and Dawn and I, for as long as you need to answer questions. So let me address a question or respond now to Priscilla. How long should you plan for your presentation? They had suggested 60 minutes, and so I will double check that and make sure that the that the PowerPoint slides that I send back to y'all have that information in it. But we're confused about the pay. Do we get paid for each academy or just a flat fee? That is confusing because what they've actually said is we want to pay you for each. Okay, flyer said 75. Y'all forgive me. I'll make sure that you get a copy of the flyer and the answer is 75 minutes. So in terms of the pay, the DOE is essentially saying two things at once. They're saying we're only going to pay you $1,200 regardless of how many times you present. But they're also saying, but we don't really want it to turn out that way, and we think we can up that as soon as we double check our numbers. So, you know, if you wanted to declare yourself available for 3, and then if they come back to you and say, oh, you know what, we don't have the money, we're only going to pay, you know, a flat fee regardless of how many times you come, then you could say, well, in that case, I'm only going to do 2. You know, I mean, there will be a time for us to confirm what they have us slated for, and also to hear if they are upping the stipends, which they have indicated in the PowerPoint that they're trying to do once they get their logistics all settled. And so thank you, Shoni, for telling me about the 75 minutes. Does that answer the question, everyone, about the money? You will also get paid for the Fall Mini Academy here at West Georgia RESA. And I do have that information somewhere in the grants, but I tried for the last hour to find the grant here on my computer, and I just couldn't figure out where it was. So I'm going to be looking for that so that I can share that information with you guys as well. And once I get off the webinar, maybe I'll be able to find it real quickly, and then I can get that information to you guys as well. So I think just to summarize, this is going to be exciting. There's going to be a lot of logistical details. We will be hearing updates along the way. There will be time for us to say, hey, wait a minute, if they've got us scheduled in the wrong place. And we are supposed, as far as I know, we are bringing our own copies for the materials. And if that is a problem for y'all because of your school, then I am so happy to just have, you know, an afternoon where y'all come to the RESA and we just make copies, because, I mean, you know, we don't want anything to stand in the way of you being able to get this done. So if copies are a big worry for you, then just think of us as another way to get that accomplished. Any other questions before we log off? We'll be back in touch real shortly with several emails, and those will be just a few of the emails that will come through to you from us along the way as we prepare for both the summer and the fall. Thank you all again for adding this to the work that you do. We realize that you are busy changing the lives of kids, and that this is just another additional thing. So I just thank you again. Y'all let me know if you have any questions. Okay? Bye.
Takes it out. Here, Rebecca just takes it out.